What's up, guys? It's your boy on bikes. We are back at it again, and today is a very special day, my friends. Today, I am reunited with an old friend. And that friend is this bike, the 1995 Suzuki Intruder 1400 GLP, or whatever the heck it is. And I haven't ridden this bike since... I didn't ride this... I haven't ridden this bike since last summer. I hadn't ridden this bike since just before I got the Fat Boy. And the reason being is I was headed to Maryland to see my grandmother for her 90th birthday. And, well, I wasn't headed there yet. It was the day before, and I was going out and all that jazz. Hey, what's up, guy? I had to get out and do this video today because it's like 65 degrees out right now. It's beautiful. It's a little windy. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little windy. If it comes through the mic, I'm sorry. I apologize. But sorry, not sorry. Today I had to do this. So it was the day before I was headed to see my grandmother for her 90th birthday. She lives in Maryland, and it's about a 4-hour trip, about 200 miles. I was just out doing my thing, and next thing I know, the bike just stops running. It started running really rough, and it just wouldn't. It just stopped running. So I didn't know if it was a charging system or just a bad battery or what the deal was, but all I knew is that I had to leave the next day and I had no bike. So my wife and I had been talking for a while about getting a new bike, one that we could go on long trips with. So I literally went out and bought the Fat Boy and left on it the next day. And rode it to Maryland, and this guy behind me wants to get froggy or something. Come on, get froggy, bud. I dare you. So here we are, united once again. So I had this bike. I put it in the garage. I did check it out. It turned out what happened was the battery was just shorted, and it wouldn't take a charge or anything, and the bike wouldn't actually run with the battery in. But with a good battery, it runs fine, as you can see. So I'm really glad it wasn't like the charging system or the stator or anything like that. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing, but leave the hate comments to yourself. The stator is the charging system, dummy. Well, I mean, it's part of it, but anyway. So here we are, 1995 Suzuki Intruder 1400. I already said that. And man, I had this bike. This is my first cruiser, okay? I guess we'll just talk about it. This is my first cruiser. Up until I got this bike about 4 years ago, I had always ridden sport bikes. My first bike was a Ninja 600, a 1989 actually, which if you watch any of my previous videos, you'd know that. You guys would freaking know that if you paid attention. After that, it was the CBR 954RR from the one and only Honda, and that bike was so mean. And so when my wife showed some interest in riding, I knew I was going to have to get something that had some balls, you know, something that we could both ride on, but something that was going to, you know, have some balls and be fun. You know, coming from a leader bike going to a cruiser. So I got this thing. It's a 1400. It's jetted. It's piped. What's up, guy? And it's so mean, guys. This bike is so freaking... It's not fast, okay? Like sport bikes are fast. Leader bikes are fast. I mean, heck, even VMAXs are fast. They'll do like 130. Well, the new ones probably go faster than that, but this bike isn't fast. It's only good for 100 miles an hour. That's really about it. It's about as fast as it's going to go. But it gets there so quick. It is absolutely insane. Now, whoop, rattled my mirror a little bit. It's a 4-speed, and it's really just geared for straight line acceleration. My speedometer doesn't work at the moment. It hasn't worked since like 2 years ago. Or no, maybe it was last year. I don't remember. The speedometer doesn't work, so I'm not technically putting any miles on this thing. I haven't for probably 3,000 miles. Let's see. So yeah, it's cool. You know what? Why don't we just stop and take a look at it? We'll stop and get off and check it out. Might swell, right? Do it, you won't. Do it, boy. Do it, boy, on bikes. You won't do it. Yes, I will. You have no idea. Screw it. We'll do it right here. We'll do it right here. So here it is, guys. This is the Suzuki Intruder 1400. I took my wife to work on it earlier. And so after it broke down on me, I threw it in the garage because there was a lot of things that I wanted to do with it anyway. You can see the pipes are cut off. That's because I wrecked it last year in the springtime, but I put it back together, you know, and it runs fine like that. I wrecked it because I have no speedometer, and I was going probably a little bit faster around a corner than I should have been. But I didn't really get hurt. Just a little bit of road rash, and the bike's fine. Just stuffed it in. I low-sided it and stuffed it in the ditch. And yeah, man, that's it. That's the Suzuki. So I had it repainted. I didn't have it repainted after I wrecked it. The paint was really fine. But I did have it repainted because the guy that I got it off of had painted it, but he painted it with like spray paint. And he put like 80 coats of spray paint on it, and it looked okay, but like you could tell. And there was other things too, like the gas tank had a leak down here. It just had a little pinhole, so it was leaking fuel, and the paint was peeling off the corner of the tank here. And so I'd wanted to get it repainted for a while, so that's one of the things that I did. And that's why I didn't ride it at all last year, because it was in the garage, it was tore apart, it was tore all the way down. And there's still a few things that I need to do with it. I am going to put new pipes on it. Front end's a little floppy. But I mean, it's a 20-year-old bike, you know, what do you expect? It's 1995. And it was never really intended to be like a sporty handling bike, but it is pretty solid, honestly. It's got progressive shocks, Cobra drag pipes, it's jetted, and it just, the thing just absolutely runs. And I mean, even comfort-wise, it's not bad. They put these forwards on it. I put these bars on it. Because it had some like 12-inch T-bars on it before. And they came back over the tank. They were back here. So the way the bike is, basically I felt like I was leaning back too much. So I wanted to be a little bit more like in a muscle bike kind of stance, where my shoulders are in front of my hips. And these do it. I couldn't actually put a drag bar on here because the clamshells and stuff would have hit the tank. But I didn't want drag bars. I didn't want them to be that low. So I put these on. These are MGO bars. They're like, they call it a super bike bar, actually. They're 1 inch, and I didn't cut them down or anything like that. They're actually about this much shorter than the grips. So I mean, they are short. If you're considering getting these, they're only like $50. So keep that in mind, you know. But these Avon grips they're solid all the way through, so it doesn't really matter. So the bar, the bars could be this big and they would still probably work just fine. So yeah, man, this is my first cruiser, and I like it. I do like this bike. I thought about selling it. I talked about selling it once I got the Harley, but honestly, guys, my wife won't let me. She won't let me do it. Absolutely not, because this is her bike. She'll tell you that too. Even though she doesn't ride it, she might ride it eventually, but this is her bike. This is the second motorcycle she had ever ridden. The first motorcycle she'd ever ridden was the 954, and then we got this so that so that we could both ride together. You know what I mean? And she wouldn't absolutely hate her life. It did have a sissy bar on it. I took it off because we don't really need it anymore. This is now the going out for ice cream bike. This is the going out to play mini golf bike. This is the jamming out to the mall bike. This is the fun bike. This is not the day trip bike. This is not the long distance bike. This is the fun bike. Let's get on it for a second. Third gear, pulls like a monster. So yeah, guys, you've heard me talk about it. I figured it was a nice enough day, and I didn't want to take it out in the nasty. So here it is. Now you've finally seen it. It's made its YouTube internet debut. Till next time, this has been fun. You guys have been great. I've been your boy on bikes.